welcome to episode 3 of the Golden Cat podcast. Obviously, I'm joined with my co-host Marmaloo, and we got Dolphin on production. We have a whole bunch of news and new stuff that happened this past week in RGL Invite, and a little bit of more general news. Marmaloo, what's up, man?
Not much, excited. There's been a couple new things, and I think all the matches and the schedules are finally flushed out, so we should be good. And no surprises, but yeah, definitely excited for the rest of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Towards the end, we do have an interview coming up. We're gonna have one of Ah Shie's players, Esper, come on and join us to ask a couple questions. We have prepared him, so stay tuned towards the end for that. But let's jump right into some current news, Marm. You can talk about the first subject.
Yeah, so the first thing we got is Yomps leaving Froyotech and replaced by Jay. I don't think, honestly, Jay's really good, and the Froyo pocket position has been changed a lot, like the most out of any position on that team. And I don't think there should be too much a difference because of Jay's mechanical ability. The main thing they're going to be missing is the calling and experience from a player like Yomps, but I don't think it should have that much of effect. Maybe in some crucial situations, Jay won't make the right play.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was my only that was the only downside of picking up Jay is there's not a lot of roamers who are looking for team or potentially able to fill the shoes of Yams just because of how much experience Yams has on Froyo. Like Yams has been playing on that team for 5 or 4 seasons at this point. Took home world championship titles with that team, multiple ESCA invite, RGL invite titles, and Jay is a player who could absolutely live up to the expectations that Yams set for that team. It's just going to take Froyo probably a little bit of time to adjust, but I don't think it's going to really hurt them too much in the long run. I mean, they're still playing great. They used Jay in a match already, and they absolutely played fantastic with him. I mean, great stuff to Jay. Congratulations to him for getting picked up on the world's best team. Hopefully, if when all this Corona stuff's over, we can jump back into lands. Maybe they attend an Insomnia or maybe another Rewind land. Hopefully happens. We could see this roster perform on land against some European players and see how they can actually perform against some of the world's best players.
Yeah, best case RGL season 3 land happens, but don't know how everything's happening so far, but you gotta hope.
For sure. A little bit of new stuff. Obviously, we just talked about Yamps leaving. Let's talk about Yamps forming his new team, Dorsia. That team is pretty crazy. I mean, you have Yamps, Yite on Scout, Ash Zilly on Soldier, you on Demo, and
Hell yeah.
Cookie Jake on Medic. This came out of nowhere in my opinion. I thought, Yamps, if I had to guess why Yamps left, he was just wasn't having fun. You know, it just seemed like when he was streaming, he was just kind of getting annoyed. He just wasn't having it anymore in the environment of Freya. Kind of just wanted to take a more less serious route, hang out with his friends, and just relax and enjoy TF2. Kind of for what it is at its core value, just a game to hang out with your friends, and then they have a roster that can easily cruise right into playoffs coming a little bit late into the season. And I guess the perfect guy to talk to, it's pretty cool. How'd this all start, Marm?
I have no clue. I got messaged the night of Yomps leaving Froyo by Cookie about next season, but this season. And I don't know what that meant, and then yeah, then this happened. But I'm excited to play demo, I guess. I used to be a demo main. We're back to the roots, but yeah, especially starting off with one loss already. Excited, hoping to make playoffs. Hoping.
Yeah, I mean, when we go into the power rankings, I'm sure we'll have a little bit more insight on that. But I'm really happy to see another high competitive team form. I mean, the invite season was looking so bad in terms of competition, but having this team form and Ah Shie form, and with how amazing Ah Shie's been playing, especially with the recent win on Microwave, which we'll absolutely be talking about later in this podcast. I'm really excited to see how these players are going to form together and try to, even though they're starting out with a loss from taking up a dead team. I'm really excited to see how they perform throughout the season.
Yeah, so leading off on that, Ashi, one of the eh, the second most recent team to form, and they've been looking good so far. Like you've said, we're touching on it more, but their roster, they have Esper on combo, Scout legit on flank, Alexander's on roamer. Oh no, I think it's the other way around. So Dingo on roamer,
Yeah, I
Alexander's on
believe so.
pocket, Bull on demo, and Daff on med. And yeah, it's a pleasant surprise, especially like a team that comes in to fill the spot out of nowhere and they're not just getting beat down on, which is usually what happens to the last invite team who gets moved up. But this one came in week 2 and really showed that they're there to play. You know, they're trying to make a playoff spot, make a splash, and I'm kind of excited to see what happens these next weeks.
Yeah, I looked at this roster on paper and I'm like, dude, these people have like never played with each other before. I mean, the two people that stand out to me or one person really is just Dingo. Dingo's a player who's been top 4 potential in invite. Usually on demo man, you see him kind of place a lot higher in invite, and this team kind of just came out of nowhere and is showed really good life against Froyotech. Even though they lost their match, they still played really well for the given only being alive for 12 hours and playing into that match. Their recent win on Microwave, so we're definitely going to keep an eye on this team for sure. They're definitely a breath of fresh air to invite, and it's awesome to see talent quickly rising and being able to kind of jump right into invite and already being able to kind of take games off of established mid invite teams.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens, especially after that first nail biter they played.
Oh, for sure. Well, speaking of nail biters, one thing that's pretty cool is the Swift roster and how the potential grand finals is going to be versus Ascent EU and Swift EU. Swift actually just ended up remaking another team over in Europe with actually two of North America's finest scouts. You have Slemnish and Jay on scout, which is an incredible scout pair, and partner with Nubby. I believe he got second last season with 6, joined by Poppy, Tyler, and Captain, kind of doing like a little, doing a little trio for Pocket. They're kind of just swapping in and out of the game depending on who's available to play. Nos Boy and Seeds, all fantastic players. I know of all these names. Captain Tiger played on 7 before. Poppy won Prem the last 2 seasons. Nos Boy, I don't know if he's ever placed top 2 in Prem. I could be wrong about that, but definitely an established playoff level player over in EU. And Seeds played for 7, played on all the top teams pretty much. He's been around the block in Prem. So I'm really excited to see how Slum and Jay do on high ping. It's really awesome to kind of see North Americans kind of play ETF2L, since it's a little bit harder for them to play at 5 in the morning versus us playing at 2 or 3 in the afternoon their time. So it's really cool to see some NA talent go over to EU online and play some TF2. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that U to NA transition. That's rough. This would be the perfect season, but yeah, Slem and J on Scout and EU, that's scary, especially with a lot of the top teams already dying, like Ascent. They're kind of forming different teams. This is definitely interesting to see, especially I don't know how it's going to work with the triple pockets, but just have to wait and see. But I know Nasboy, he's torn it up in those NA Pug champs with like 190 ping or 90 or 100 ping. So I'm betting he can do pretty well on normal ping and plus seeds as well. Probably being known as the best medic for a couple seasons now.
For sure. Well, that's a little bit of the current news that we have going on in NA and EU. Let's actually jump right over to the matches. We have 5 matches lined up that we want to, or I'm sorry, 6 matches we want to line up and review and kind of just briefly talk over. Marm, you can take the first match.
Yeah, so the first match that happened was Dexter's Lab versus Ascent. This wasn't really too interesting to watch. It was a pretty dominant win for Ascent. A couple notable stats is Ascent won all 6 mids, and they had 1 med death compared to Dexter's Lab 0 mids and 10 med deaths.
Yeah, I mean, not really much happened that game. Uh, I don't remember watching it offhand. I'm trying to remember. For some reason, my memory's just like going crazy on me for that match. But I mean, if I had to imagine, Dexter's Lab probably had a mid to last like they were doing against the original Ah Shie roster back in week 1, and kind of just did it to Ascent. Maybe got a bad cap, but Ascent top 2 team, potential invite winner this season. So it's Dexter's Lab still showing a little bit of life against the top talent teams. They're definitely still a playoff threat to Mao and Microwave. So definitely still keep an eye out for them. One more match we do have is Ascent versus Mal. This actually happened the same night. What this happened the same night as what match? The
I think it was the
Oshi.
Froyo doubleheader.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, and then Mal actually kind of got swept under the carpet that game. I mean, Phelps had a. I hate to say it, Phelps did have a goose egg in the second half of that game. It's not what you want to see, but I mean, Ascent doing their thing, taking both their matches that aren't against Froyotech in a clean 5-1, 5-0.
Yeah, like I said for the last match, it was a 16-minute, 41-second 5-0 for Ascent. They won 5 mids, and once again, 2 med deaths to Mal's 9, which really is just showing that Laz and all them, they're getting on those meds and they're getting those picks. Laz bot mode, Yite, all those people, even Uber ads. And Mal really didn't have a step in the game. They had two caps on the map, which means they capped their second or mid twice compared to Ascent 17.
Yeah, like that just shows you how dominant it was. They didn't even cap mid at one. I mean, they either cap mid or they're two. I mean, they never saw the other side of the map essentially. So tragic for Mal. I know they're definitely better than that. Kali just had an off night. I do believe they had Alpha playing in that match, so that may have been a factor versus Trip. Not having their main roamer, but I still don't think having Trip would have resulted in anything different, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we got the next match here. We have Ah Shie versus Froyotech. The newcomers we were just talking about. 5-1. It wasn't a dominating 5-1. It was a very back and forth game actually. Froyotech beefed a couple lasses. Ah Shie beefed a couple lasts. I mean, it was a great game overall. I mean, there was like a 20-minute pause, which kind of sucked because I believe Esper's internet died. But other than that, for a 5-1 for a team that just hit invite, they played really well for for the expectation set for them. A team that formed like 18 hours before the match to just try and help out Invite, taking a round off the back champion is kind of crazy. So great stuff to Ashi. I'm really happy to see how they develop throughout the season. Do you have any other input? Did you watch some of the match?
I watched a little bit of it, but something that's really surprising, usually when like a team like Froyo plays a lesser team, no offense to Ashi, but almost everybody's a lesser team, let's be real here, besides a couple.
Hmm.
But Ashi won 4 mids compared to Froyo's 2. Which every time I've been touching on this, Ascent didn't drop a single mid. And that's probably talking more to Ashi's coordination in these short weeks, or they got something rolling. And they they took that many mids in a loss like that. And surprising. And they looked really into it for I think it was the first half. It was going back and forth, but then yeah, eventually Froyo pulled it together, and this was a good sign for what's going to happen, especially Esper having a standout game along with Dingo, and Daff having a pretty comparable game to Skis, even though they lost 5-1.
Yep. So I mean, microwave kind of you hate seeing a 5-0. I don't think they deserve to have gotten 5-0'd. I mean, Froyotech again is a phenomenal team, but Microwave is a team that stands out. They've been around a long time together, and I just feel like they should have been able to kind of take that at least a round, maybe two off of Froyo, keep it a little bit more competitive. But Froyo is still, full on saying we are the best team in the division, and no team that isn't Ascent or potentially Dorsia can even take a round off of us.
Yeah, they really just they came in they were in stride with the new J roster, and they showed what they're up to. So we touched we touched on the both Froyo matches, right?
Yeah, we talked about
Okay.
Ashi Froyo and then Froyo Microwave. Now we got.
Yeah,
If you
so
want to take I assume you want probably want to take this one.
yeah, Mal's been getting beat down on in these past 2 games they played. They got thrown a bone. They played Dexter's lap on clear cut, and it was a 4-0.
Good for them, man.
Finally back in there. But once again, this game was definitely closer than the score indicated. I was looking at the round times, so with Mal having 3 of their 4 rounds they won with of 6 minutes and 44 seconds or more, it meant that Dexter's lab must have had or been at close to 0 seconds on their clock, which is a really close round 3 times in a row. And Mal just converted in the end on all of those. But Mal, like I said, for all these others, they lost. They won 3 out of the 4 mids, and both their scouts dropped a 29 and 13 stat line.
Well, I'm actually a little shocked that Dexter's Lab didn't take a round. I mean, Mal, it was a lot closer, and Dexter's Lab just had a ton of small mistakes that led to them losing, like certain players dying in positions where they shouldn't be, Toy getting caught out in situations where it doesn't make sense. It was a great game. I mean, I'm really happy that Mal kind of came out on top. They proved that they are a team that can play playoffs with this 4-0. And the reason why that's good is because being in a team that has the level of talent that you have, they kind of should kind of just coast right in the playoffs for that fourth or third seed, depending on how good Dorsey or Microwave tries to play, especially when we talk about the power rankings soon. But I mean, Mal showing that they are slightly a cut above the lower level invite teams like Dexter's Lab or Ah Shie, or potentially even the Microwave when they finally play coming soon. But great stuff to Mal. They deserve it. They played great. Close game overall. Dexter's Lab, I know, is not upset by this loss. They're going to come right back in this week's matches and put on a show for everyone.
Yeah. One thing is, I was looking at the stats in the demos. I was surprised that Exile had so much damage, and then I looked, and Exile had 100 more damage taken per minute from Psy, which really, I don't think they really got something going because Exile took all the heals, and I don't know. I don't. I think one of your soldiers should probably take a little bit more on a map like this and then commit. But I don't know. It's a really new map, so I'm not quite sure what's expected.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Mal's team on paper, how long that core of players have been playing with each other, the Kev Phelps aim trip combo, joined by the Cyan Bear from Ford Gaming. I mean, that team has a lot of synergy with each other. And they showed it in this match, being able to stay composed, even in those close situations and close it out. And again, Alpha subbed in form and prove, he can still hang on Romer, in that playoff seed potential.
Yep. So last match we got, I'll just talk about. You can cover it first. The Microwave versus Ah Shie, and this was a surprise. It
Mhm.
built up a little bit from the Froyo match because they were looking good, but 5-4 for Ah Shie.
It was a whole story. I mean, you had the build up with them. I mean, I'm really happy with how Ashi played. I mean, the thing is, it's a completely new team, and I don't think that any team in this entire division would have given them the respect that they deserve, in my opinion. I think that people just looked at this team and it's like, oh, it's just people who wanted to play invite. Let's just absolutely slam them real quick. And they came through and beat Microwave, which is an incredible win for them. Like, that's big playoff implications very early on. Reason being is because Ah Shie, even though they got this win, they're probably still not going to make playoffs. But this puts them
Too
in a
soon to say.
prime. It is too soon to say, but it does it's a pretty big shot in the leg. Now that we're going by win loss and not points, every wins matter now. 5-4 wins don't they matter just as much as if it was a 5-0 at this point if we were doing the point structure, which is good. But again, Microwave, if they lose an upcoming game versus a team like Microwave, or I'm sorry, Microwave loses to a team like Mal rather, or Dorcia, or even lose the run back against Dexter's Lab, or lose against Dexter's Lab in the run back, or lose against Ah Shie in the run back, they're probably not going to make it in. It's a little early to call, but all those situations could play out. I can't wait to see how the playoff race develops this season because it's looking very, very competitive. And Microwave has to be able to get back on the ball the rest of the season. They can't let teams that are strictly just worse than them just take games like that, especially 5-4. Like, they're absolutely more than capable of winning that game. But man, it was a tough game overall for him, I guess. And Ah Shie came in huge this season. Guns blazing. Started out with the -1 record since they took over a team that lost to Dexter's Lab in week 1. But they're ready
That
to
got
they're
that
ready
got
for it.
straightened out. That got straightened out. But yeah, so
Oh yeah, they did. I forgot
the
about that.
second half of that match, the stats are just in the void. They're gone. So we have no info on that. I think Shimu must have re-execed instead of changing round limit or time limit. So those are gone. But the first half ended with almost equal everything, to be honest. And yeah, so if I recall correctly, the reason the 2 rounds were really won for Microwave is Daff had 4 drops in that first half, and I know Daff dropped twice on last, which turned into a round loss, which usually
Yeah,
happens. And I know for the second half, I was watching it a little bit on legit stream, and it was a 4-4 on Ashi's last, and I think Dingo had like 6 or 8 kills off his last from last to
yeah,
last, and they converted it all the way, and that's a crazy way to win an upset match like that, is from your last 4-4 and just steamrolling over in like a minute or two.
Coast to coast, man. It was crazy. Watching Dingo play that match from Legit's POV. Honestly, any other soldier that isn't the level of Dingo or up, that could have been a different game. And it would have been, it probably still would have been a 5-4 or a 4 or a 4 or a 5-3 rather, because Dingo was doing so much that second half of the game. Dingo played incredible, and I wish the stats were available. I would love to see how Dingo's stats ended up playing. If there's some way we can get those logs, maybe if Shamu, if it was his server, if he can somehow find them, that'd be awesome to see. I want to see how the stats end. But I know that Esper and Legit Brazilian played a very, 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 very well half in the second half of that game. I think Legit ended. I think his stream was like 27-11 or something in the second half. So he played great.
Yeah, just I'd want to see a bit more from players like Chunky and Rakusa, at least in these first half stats. And I don't think they really. I don't remember anything big happening besides maybe a few drops onto DAF in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, like I said in the very first podcast, I truly think that this team is missing. They're missing that one player on the team who can just make so much impact happen. And I don't see it in that roster. And I wanna see this team become a third seed team or make playoffs this season, because at this point I wouldn't put my money on it at this point if Microwave for making playoffs. But I mean, they're missing just that one heavy big playmaker. Like, I'm looking at the first half stats like you are, and I'm not seeing their flank scout or Shamu doing any big plays. Like Legit and Esper, 24 and 10, 20 and 13, playing very, very exceptionally. Hayes had a pretty good game, over 340 DPM in the first half. Hayes played pretty great that game. But other than that, Chunky played good in the first half, but kind of fell off in the second half, it looked like. And Rakuso, I feel like just had a couple decent plays, but nothing that was game changing.
Yeah, so leading off that, we're gonna go into our power rankings. You know, we've done this every week, and I think it's changed a little bit around, especially with two new teams. So first team that I'm gonna pick for my last place, sorry to say, it has to be Ah Shie. They've looked so good, but there's just not enough volume of games. They had a great win versus the Microwave. They haven't played any other team that isn't Froyo, so it's hard to really rank them against teams like Dexter's Lab, Microwave, and all those other teams. And I'm really hopeful for them to be up higher in the future after they get some wins under the belt. But really good, and yeah, I'd really wish to put them higher, but they haven't played Dexter's Lab yet.
All right. So I'm actually not in the same boat. I'm actually gonna put
Ooh.
Dexter's Lab as the last team this season, and then hear me out. Reason being is because Dexter's Lab, you know, they did lose to the Microwave in a nail biter, but all she pulled it out in the nail biter. And I know that's a weird way to kind of play it out, but how I see it is that there's so much potential on Ah Shie from as of those two games that they've played, that I truly think that they could kind of edge it out over Dexter's Lab in a match. And I can't wait to see them play against each other. I mean, they already beat a team that they lost to, and on top of that, I mean, Dexter's Lab, I honestly don't think the Microwave's gonna give it to him the next time they play. And I honestly don't think She's gonna give it to him. I think that Midas and Jinx, it's in completely in their hands. I think the best players on that team are personally Mirror Man and Exile. Those players have experience, they're seasoned. Exile and Mirror Man are great callers. Ether's a good player. He's reliable. You know what he's doing, but he's missing some of that flair that Dingo has as a soldier. Dingo has so much flair. I know Dingo's not roaming, but he can play both roles, and Alexandros can also play pockets. They probably are going to switch probably some point throughout the season, depending on if they're comfortable or not. But I'm going to put Dexter's Lab as the last team this season. I mean, I think that they have the potential to climb out, but I truly think that they're going to have a lot more to work on this season.
Yeah, so just touch on that. I think Dingo's on. I'm pretty sure Dingo's on Roamer, and Alexander's on Pocket. But yeah, like you
Yeah,
said, they
that's.
could switch easily. But
Mhm.
so my sixth place team is I got Dexter's Lab. I can't. I don't know. Just like last week, I can't really put Dexter's Lab above Microwave, so because they lost to them, and especially because they lost 4-0 to Mal. But like I said earlier, I don't. I really like Ah Shie as a team, but I can't really move them up or down, especially just that could have been a fluke and it was by one round in like a miracle situation.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, but for my team personally, for sixth place, I'm gonna put Ah Shie, the newcomers, the the team that came out of nowhere. I think Ah Shie can pull through for like the latter half of the season. I think that when they end up having the play a match against Dexter's Lab or have the rematch against Microwave, it could go either way. And I think Ah Shie is a team that has that spark right now that Dexter's Lab has right now. The spark of wanting to improve and become as great as possible off that win they just had. They want to be able to prove to everyone that they can hang an invite, and they're going to practice and demo review every day. And Dingo's a great teammate. I think he's going to help them every step of the way. He's the most experienced in that team by a landslide, and he's there every second of the way with them. He's there in scrims, he's there in the reviews, and he's there in matches and scrims to show up and play his heart out. And that's what I love about Dingo. No one really knows that about Dingo. He's actually a great teammate and a great player. I can't wait to see him on demo eventually one day again if another team picks him up on demo. But I think Oshie is gonna take it in sixth place.
Yeah, Dingo's just a fun guy to be around to play with. But fifth place team, I got the microwave. And with microwave having a losing a nail biter against Ashi, they're in the dilemma of they're being above a team they beat, but also above a team they lost to. Because it's the same stat lines, but they beat Dexter's Lab, they lost to Ashi. And because Microwave, like I said, beat Dexter's Lab and lost to Ashi, until Dexter's Lab and Ashi play, I can't really move them around and can't move them higher because they really haven't had a win recently. And I'm just going to leave them here. I think I put them here last week as well. But yeah,
Yeah, and my fifth place team is also gonna be the Microwave. I mean, and it's close. Like if there was like if I could put like visually put like lines of where I was placing these teams, they are very close to dropping to that sixth seed to either Dexter's Lab or Ashi. And like I said, I think the teams probably a little shaken up from that loss. I think that they're gonna be able to jump back into it, but I think they can't let up this season if they want to even have a chance to make playoffs. They are in a pretty crappy spot right now with the losses that they have from especially Ashi. And if they ever play against, like I said, Dexter's Lab again, and they let it get that close, I don't think Dexter's Lab is gonna mess up again. I know I put Dexter's Lab as my last place team, but someone has to be last, and I think these three teams are so close to each other in terms of skill and potential that it can go either way.
yeah, like you said, it's you hate to be the last place team, but someone's got to be it. And I think these three could easily flip flop in these next coming weeks. And the microwave really needs to win a couple matches, especially with there being 7 teams now, and they're all pretty competitive. They
Yeah.
need to get some wins under their belt quickly.
Like they need to be able to take games off of Mao, and I don't want to say I've always said this core of players has always been like that solid mid invite team. They could upset a high tier team, and they can upset a low, and they can easily beat the low tier teams. They're like the staple mid invite team, fifth seed, have the potential to make fourth seed. They just need that breakout performance, and this is that season where they could potentially be the worst team in the division. And I don't want to see that happen to them because I've seen these players play for since like season 24 since I've been competing in invite my first ever season, and I know they have the potential to place higher. They just need to put the effort in. I don't think they're putting as much effort in, and that's why these lower level teams are taking it as close as they are.
Yeah, main reason I really am keeping here, because they're all pretty close in my eyes, is just they're all experienced. They've played together 2 or 3 times, and they all
Exactly. Yeah.
have played multiple seasons. And I'm just hoping they kind of get it together. Maybe find something that's going wrong. And Hayes has been looking great. I think someone else just needs to step up along with him. And do you want to take away your fourth place team in the power rankings right now?
Yeah. I mean, my fourth place team. I'm gonna give it to man. It feels weird. I'm gonna give it to my anime list. It was very hard for me to make this in between Dorsia and my anime list, but fourth place is gonna go to as of right now my anime list. Reason being is just because I feel like Dorsia has the potential to play very, very well against Ascent and Froyotech. They have talent on that team that is incredible. They have Yomps and Yite on Scout. They have Zillion Soldier accompanied with I'm trying to remember the other soldier off the top of my head. Accompanied with Ash on Soldier, Marmaloo on demo, and Cookie Jake on meta. Cookie Jake,
You
these are
nailed
all
it.
incredible players. Marmaloo demo, I'm a little worried. I think he can
I
pull
haven't
through.
dropped less than 500 DPM in a goalie
This
game
is
so far.
this is true. I healed him in 2 of them. He did 500 DPM. This is absolutely correct. But how is he going to tango against Mao? I think he can do great against them. Again, the matchup's going to be interesting to see there. That's going to be probably the standout player, in my opinion, of who I want to see perform above my expectations. I think he will perform great. But I just think that Mao doesn't have the raw talent as the players on this team at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I'm gonna disagree. I'm
Hmm.
putting Dorcia at 4. There are no results for my team. We have nothing. We've scrimmed one night. And, just with the names and trying to be unbiased, I'm going to put him here. And especially because the last microwave loss, I'm going to definitely put my team above a team like microwave. Right now, at least. We'll see if we'll move up or down later. But, yeah.
I mean, I get the whole, you're trying to be unbiased. So I think at the end of the day, man, Yayam's on scout. That's a very, very scary scout combo, and I don't think that there's gonna be a lot of duos below third seed that can handle Yite and Yomps running at you. But I mean, it's good to have a little bit of disagreement, which is good. But who do you think your third place team is?
Well, it's pretty. If you dig around, it is Mao. I think they had an impressive win against a playoff contender with a 4-0, and they got out of the drought of playing Froyo and Ascent for the first matches and getting 10-0'd. But now they finally are 10-4 or 4-10, win rounds won till rounds lost.
I mean, and my third place team, we're gonna flip flop at our third and fourth seed. Dorcia, like I said, uh, Dorcia is just going to be, like I said, a cut above, Mal in terms of just raw talent. I think once this team actually scrims, if your team is scrimming and playing matches and getting into the swing of things, I think that, Mal in the head to head, in the experience matchup, they're not really going to keep up. I think that they're going to get a little too ahead of themselves, and Dorcia could probably kind of just run over them in a 5-2, 5-3 game and kind of just take the win out of that.
All right, so with nothing really happening between the top two teams this week, they kind of played lower level competition. I'm gonna keep mine the same. I got Froyo at second. They dispatched of their week 2 competition pretty easily, and they didn't really change their placing, especially getting a new player. It's gonna be a bit shaky maybe for a week, but Jay's gonna be a pretty seamless fit in my eyes. And yeah, like I said, they looked a bit shaky in their first match versus Ah Shie. They pulled together in the second half, and yeah, Jay looked good in the first 2 matches, which is really promising for Freyo.
You know, Jay did look really good in these first couple games with Froyo, and I'm glad that he's transitioning well. But for me, I'm gonna put Froyotech as my number 2 team for this season. Reason being,
Oh,
because Ascent, going back to the original lineup, I think that Slemnish and High Five and Campy are all phenomenal players. I just think on paper, once this team is playing at their maximum potential and they're playing against Froyotech again in that second matchup, I don't think they're gonna let up. I think that Ascent's gonna walk away with it. And the reason why I'm putting Froyo number 2, as of right now, I know Jay is so good and he's such a fantastic player, and that the pocket role, like you were saying before, gets swapped out all the time from Froyotech. I just think that Ascent is going to bring so much more, and that actually may just give him a little bit of motivation to actually play even better versus Froyotech. I think Jay is a little bit of a downgrade to Yomps, and just because of what Yomps has been doing for Froyotech, Jay is still a great player and can definitely do as good as Yomps, but I don't think that playstyle wise, I don't think I think Ascent's going to be able to capitalize on it personally.
yeah, I'm surprised you're jumping on my bandwagon here.
You know, I
He's
I
he's
didn't
knows
expect
what's
Yums to
up.
leave, man. I didn't expect Yums to leave all of a sudden. And with how all she was kind of playing around Froyotech and keeping it a little close, it was really interesting to see, Froyo kind of show a little bit of weaknesses against that team. And I don't think Ascent would even bat an eye at Ashi. I think they're gonna play them and they're out the server in 15 minutes. You know?
All right, you need to
And
relax a little bit here. We have an Ah Shie member coming in later. You can't say that.
I know, I'm
But
sorry,
you
but
know, I'm
I'm keeping
hoping
it real. I'm keeping it real.
with both of us doing this, I'm hoping I'm not in any ats at the end of the season if something happens other than what I'm expecting. But like I said, Ascent number 1, Ascent looked really really good in their match versus Mal, another what we have as a third and fourth seed in playoffs, and rolled them
Yeah.
in 16 minutes. And they kept them in their my place for them at least first with a more difficult team and a clean victory. And Ascent also dropped around to Dexter's Lab on Sunshine, which really is their map so far. I don't know, they haven't played too many, so you can't really say it, but it was a rather short match with 2 rounds being around 5 minutes, and Dexter's Lab won one of those rounds, and all 6 mids went to Ascent, and Ascent hasn't lost a mid on Sunshine given they've played it twice. 11-0 on mids.
Hey man, shout out to Ascent. Perfect mid wins on Sunshine this season. But that's gonna do it up for the power rankings. I know I switched up on Froyo, but like I said, I think come towards the end of the season, it all makes sense. I think that Ascent's really gonna pull through towards the end as of right now with how this roster change and how Ascent did beat Mal very convincingly, and I think Froyo did struggle a little bit against Ah Shie. It wasn't as uniform as a win as they could have wanted, and how good Ascent usually does in scrims versus Froyo. If they see him on the right map and on the right day, I think Ascent's gonna just take it over him in the series once playoffs comes.
Yeah, so there weren't too many. The only roster change really was Froyo replacing Yamsa J, which we already touched on. So I'm going to move on to the Preds we have for this next week. We haven't put any of the Dorsia matches, but they have been. There is a schedule now, but none of them have been scheduled, so we don't know what is
Hmm.
going to be. I don't even know, and I'm on the team. I don't know when we're playing any of these matches, so we're probably not going to really touch on them. Maybe there'll be a cast with Sandblast or some other casters, but yeah, those are up in the air. But the first match we got is Ascent and Ah Shie. What are you thinking for this one?
5-0 I think like I said, I'm gonna stick to my guns. Like I just put them in the power rankings. I think Ascent's gonna join the server, and like I said, they're out the server in 20 minutes. I think Ascent is one of the best teams in the world right now, and I just think that they're expected. Maybe they're gonna lose a round to a back cap, or have the mid to last because all she did mid to last Froyo a lot. They didn't win round or really convert rounds off it except for one, but 5-0 for Ascent.
Yeah, one thing is the difference between Froyo and Ascent. And Ascent, I don't know. To me, they always have just been more brute force. Banny's a lot more methodical. They got Habib. They play around that, and they take the fights that they think they'll win. And Ascent sometimes just goes, you know what? We're better than the other team. Let's go just shoot them. And I love always saying Ascent just shoots you harder than Froyo does, because some teams are like, I don't know why. We just do better against Froyo than Ascent. Ascent sometimes just blows out the teams, but I think Ah Shie's going to win one round, 5-1. They look good on the mids against Froyo, and they eventually pulled it out. And I think they got a good enough squad to be able to take at least one round from a team like Ascent.
Cool. We'll go into our next match, Froyotech versus Dexter's Lab, another kind of low impact match. I'm gonna give it probably 5-0 to Froyotech or 5-1 to Froyotech on this one. I think Dexter's Lab has the same potential to do what all she can do to Ascent. Um, you know, Ascent being more brute force, I think, is going to overwhelm teams like you were saying. I don't think Dexter's Lab has or Froyotech has that level of aggression that Ascent really has. But I think Dexter's Lab can maybe sneak a mid, just Pana by having a good soldier bomb or Exile hitting a couple great pipes, or maybe Midas or Jinx finding a kill somewhere. But I think that they could probably squeak around out of Froyo.
I'm just checking something. Okay, it is
Very
Froyo's
good.
map pick, so it's probably not on Sunshine, which I'm assuming is going to be the pick for Dexter's Lab whenever it's available. But for this game, I think Froyo too good. I think the match is going to go 5-1 to Froyo. And Dexter's Lab, hopefully they can get around maybe, but I wouldn't expect too much, especially with a tenured team like Froyo, even though they got a new player.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now we're getting a couple more matches that are going to be a little bit closer in skill. Right here you have Ah Shie versus Mal. You know, I think Mal's going to take it 5-2. You know, I think Mal's going to win. It's not going to be a convincing win. It's just going to be a good game overall. It's going to be slightly competitive. I think Mal's going to edge it out over them towards the end. But I think Ah Shie's gonna come with some surprises that Mal isn't ready for, and kind of take it over in 5-2. But I think Sai's just gonna outperform Bull Mayo. I think Phelps and Kev are gonna outperform Esper and Legit Brazilian. But like I said, all she's gonna come with some heat that Mal ain't ready for, and I can't wait to see the logs of that game. Or if maybe if TFTV or someone else covers that, uh, it'd be awesome to see the results of that. But I think Mal 5-2 at the end of the day.
Yeah, so Ah Shie, like we've said all podcasts, they've had a really good ending to last week. But Mal did win 4-0 against another team, Dexter's Lab, and haven't really had any non Froyo Ascent matches to really judge off of. But Ah Shie has really been the dark horse of the season so far. Short lived, but they have been. And depending on the map, I think the score will change. But right now, I'm saying 5-2 for Mal, like you said.
Yeah. Now we have another game. Ascent versus. I'm sorry. Yeah, Ascent versus Microwave. Forgive me. I mean, like I said, Microwave to me, man. I know they heat things up, but I don't think they're gonna be heating up this game versus Ascent. I don't think so, man. I'm gonna give it 5-1 for Ascent.
Yeah,
I
it's like
think
sticking
that
fork in a microwave. Nothing good happens. That microwave's gone.
it's gonna blow up literally, and
Hmm.
Ascent might just blow Microwave up in this match. I mean, Ascent, man, Microwave. This is probably one of their most underwhelming seasons I've seen. Uh, I want to see them play good, man. I think they have the potential to be such a good team, but they just need to figure out what's going on in their combo in the flank and really get on the same page with each other. But I think Ascent's gonna just run over them this game.
Yeah, I think Ascent's been looking good with the roll slot microwave with the loss, which I'd expect Ascent to be able to handle this, but we need to take a second and realize it was a 1 round difference, and they had Ah Shie on their last. So I don't think it affects the stock of microwave as much as it helps the stock of Ah Shie go up. But unless a couple people pop off for the microwave, I think this is going to be a 5-2 or a 5-1 for Ascent.
Yeah, I agree. And now we got the big match of the week. The match that can go either way and has playoff implications on the line, mainly for one team rather than the other. My anime list versus Microwave. You will be seeing me if Marmaloo is available.
I'm trying
He'll
to be.
be he'll try to be available for it, but I will definitely be casting this here on RGLgg, so you can absolutely be able to catch the content here. Mal versus Microwave. I want to hear your predictions first. They're your boys. I want you to be brutally honest. This is a game that I've been waiting for because the thing they have some of the players from Ford on it. Trip, Psy, and Bear. We've had a 1 or 2 games throughout last season that we or almost lost to a team that was like strictly lower level than us on paper. And I think Mal is the better team, but I want to know what your opinion is on this roster.
Yeah, so just looking at the rosters, I'm gonna do a bit of a. I don't know if you have anything for the player like head to heads, but I have it for every class. So the player that's been looking the best so far on Microwave is Hayes. He's been the one
Agreed.
every match has shown up, gotten his man, done his job. And I think someone besides Hayes really needs to step up. Someone like Chunky that I've brought up every single time could really be the difference maker. I think he needs to be at the level of Psy or maybe above if they want to win, especially. And another player that I've really been kind of disappointed by so far is Rakuso. I've given Rakuso so many props over the last few seasons, especially on those velocity teams. I've really hoped to see him step it up in the season, but overall he's not been looking like his past self. And I expect him to be the one of the best players on this team who should really be able to take a leap in this match and make a difference on the flank.
Yeah, I mean Hayes, like I was saying, Hayes is. I don't think I give him enough credit as a pocket soldier. I think he is having the best season he's ever played, but Rakuso as well. I don't think he's really playing as good as he is. I'm sorry, Rakuso. I think is the best player on this team, but he's really struggling. But I'm a scout main personally, so I want to look at the combo scout from my anime list, Phelps. I think Phelps has been doing his job.
He's on flank. He's on flank. They
Oh, he's
switched.
on flank. Oh, I
Oh
forgot they
yeah,
switched.
that's why they switched. It's a
I
bit
forgot they switched. That is correct. Kev, rather. I didn't want to look at Kev's stats. Kev is a player, he doesn't have a lot of flank scout in his blood. He's trying his best, but off this dominant win that they had off of Dexter's lab, I do think that he could easily play better than Shamu. I mean, Dolphin, I don't know if you have the stats you could pull up for Kev here, which I think we do. I'm looking, trying to wait for them to load up here. Yeah, here we are. Kev, he's not season 26 or season 27, Kev. I forgot which season it was, Kev. But he's doing pretty good, man. 276 DPM. He's taking 243 heals a minute. Has a positive KD, which is you want to see from your combo scout. He's doing his job. He's not that combo scout that's top 3, top 2, who's really making a huge impact with their heals and positioning. But he's doing his job. And in comparison to Shamu, I do want to say Shamu's the better player, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm scared.
Yeah, with Kev on Combo Scout, I'd expect Shmu to the edge. He's been playing combo for the longest time. And I think if I'm on Microwave, I want to try and take, a few Uber exchanges, maybe test Kev, see if he can handle the pressure. If you're sending it in over and over again, maybe Kuso can try and exploit that. Because so far from what I've seen from Kev is he plays pretty like cookie cutter combo scout where he's shooting them soldiers. But yeah, I definitely take Shamu in that spot. And with Phelps moving to flank and Phone looking pretty good so far, I'm still giving the edge to Phelps. He's had a lot of experience, playoff experience on flank scout, and I think overall with the all that knowledge and all that gameplay, he's going to be a bit better there.
Yeah, I mean, now it really comes down to what we think this scoreline is going to be. And I mean, you could compare the players all you want. There is one standout player on my enemy list that Microwave does not have, and that's Psy Guy. Psy Guy is a force to be reckoned with against a team like the Microwave. Their scouts need to be perfect at moving, be able to work around trying to be able to kill Psy. But at the end of the day, I personally think my enemy list is going to take this game 5-2. I think that they're going to have a pretty dominant start to the game. My enemy list is going to play great. Psy Guy, I mean, you could just look at these stats. This is disgusting.
My
He's
favorite stat is that number one deaths per minute on demo.
he
Point
he's
7. He kind of bombs. He kind of bombs sometimes. It's
he's going
weird.
deep, man. He's going deep. But I mean, look, he's top damaging in the entire out of all the demos. He's the number one damaging demo. He's not seeing the beam as much. He's number 5. He's not the 11th most players seeing the beam in all of invite. Usually you would assume Side would probably be a top 5 heal taker. But I mean, he's really good KD on demo. He's just keeping positive. Not that Habib or Zaylor KD, but he's doing his job. He's definitely getting the frags that matters the most. But dying the most every minute, getting the most kills, number 2 for the most demo kills a minute. But absolutely top damaging in every regard. Number 1 top damager overall in the entire season. So big ups to Sai. And that's going to be the wall that Microwave is going to be playing. And that's why I think that this match is going to be a 5-2.
Yeah, I one last thing I kind of wanted to touch on is the medic matchup. Bear looked really good. I think me and you were talking about how good he looked in the preseason, but
Mhm.
I think he slowed down a little bit. And Sky, I don't think Sky's been looking normal. I don't think it's been anything out of the ordinary. And I really want to see which medic steps up, but I'm going sort of with you. I'm saying 5-3 for Mal in this game. I don't know. Microwave just hasn't given me too much confidence so far. But yeah.
Well, with that, you have our predictions. You have everything that we think is going to happen. We have everything laid out for you guys. You can always go to the YouTube. I think Dolphin might put some timestamps for the predictions, but we are going into the interview now. So we'll be grabbing our guest. We said it at the beginning of the stream, Esper. Let's see if we can get him in. Hello, Esper. Can you
What's up?
hear us, Esper?
Yeah, I can hear
There
you.
we are. What's going on?
I'm okay.
Nice, nice. Congratulations on your big win versus Microwave, obviously.
Thank you. It was a good batch. I think everyone on our team played really well. We're all pretty happy about the result.
Well, Marm, if you want, man, I'll let you shoot right ahead on the first question, man.
I'm just looking at the avatar on the RGL, but
We're 2 for 2 on the face cam, man. We're 2 for 2.
no, yeah, these are actually selfies taken before this. So
Absolutely
True,
true.
yeah.
true.
We always ask the players, if you don't have a webcam, we will put a selfie. And this is on their RGL profiles, the selfie that they uploaded, so we'll take
Mhm.
it.
All right, so
Yeah, it's
first
always
question.
selfies.
Yeah, always, no matter what. Exile, as well. But first question we got is: did you learn anything from the match versus Froyo? Even though you got 5-0, do you think you got anything from it that you could bring forth into your next match that you played?
Um, I mean, I think the biggest thing I learned from that match is more of a mentality thing. Just for this is my first like real season of Invite, and obviously like I think the biggest thing I learned is to not like let teams get in your head. Like obviously Freo, they're like they're one of the biggest names out there. You hear them everywhere. They're oh my god, Freo's invincible. They're number one. But I feel like there's no offense to them at all, but they're just players just like everyone else, and they can definitely be like you in the game. So I feel like it's a big mentality thing to not be afraid to do the things that I want to do on Combo Scout, and I think it'll help me a lot this season to put out be more confident in general.
Cool. Well, one more question we do have. We have two more. We have, what was your mentality coming into this season late? Obviously, you guys took over a dead team, and you're coming in a little bit later than usual. Did that kind of, what was the idea going behind that?
Honestly, I still felt like our team could do well. Obviously, well, I didn't expect our team to be fantastic, but I obviously didn't have my expectations like super ultra high, but I still felt like we could do okay. I felt, especially after the first night of scrims, I felt like things were going really well. We had a lot of cohesion with each other, and I felt like I don't have I won't be upset over any losses this season. Obviously, uh, I'm obviously in terms of like power rankings, we're probably like last place or something, but I think we could all learn. I think all of us could learn a lot this season, and that's really That's mostly what I'm thinking about when it comes to matches. I just want to learn a lot this season.
All right, so last question we had written down. Maybe I'll bring something in like usual, but
Oh, I got some.
after you got something, or
I
after that
got some.
promising showing against Froyo, did you guys like going into the microwave match? Did you feel confident in your guys' ability to pull it together and maybe get a big win there?
Yeah, we actually after the Frio match, yeah, I think we definitely thought it was possible. It felt like a match that could go either way. Honestly, we wouldn't be surprised if we lost, but we felt like there was a small chance we could win, and we did. So I'm really happy with that. We obviously played really well. Microwave could have easily beat us too, though, but I think our team is really happy with the result, and yeah.
Cool. Well, I do have one question off the top. I wanna throw at you. Is, obviously you have a fair amount of seasons played as advanced or IM. You've been there before, and I think that a lot of other up and coming players don't understand the gap that Invite has versus some of the better teams versus those advanced teams. Some players kind of just jump into the division expecting to place fifth or sixth seed in a 9 or 10 team season. So obviously playing a couple matches in Invite prior and coming into this season, do you feel that there's a difference between like the mid high invite versus the low top advanced teams
There
and play
definitely
style?
is playstyle. Honestly, I feel like it's more of everyone plays to do their job in invite rather than play for stats. I feel like there are definitely a few teams that advance that everyone tries to really go for stats and they bait each other like super hard. But in invite, I feel like it's more everyone knows exactly what their job is and they play just to do their job. And honestly, it works better out that way for a team wise. It works better that way, and the game flows much more smoothly.
Yeah, so I was looking in I was making sure, doing some double checking on, so you did play one season, I think it was 29 in ECA. And I was
It was
looking,
30.
was it 30? It was one of those. And there's definitely a difference between those two because I was looking at the stats and there was a couple of 5v6 matches. So,
Oh yeah,
definitely great to see 6 players in the server and,
True.
a good win. And I hope you're thinking that this is going to be a lot better of a season than
it
then. So,
definitely was. I can give a little insight to that season. So, my team died halfway through the season, and basically, Happy Boys they needed a player. I always made this joke. So, Epsicle smashed out of the server, and he
Interesting.
smashed this hole so big that they actually lost another player. Another player filled up that hole.
Oh wow.
So, me and another player, I think it was I forget the player actually. I can't think of it at the top of my head, but I did not
Just
play the
hurt their
5v6
feelings.
match, luckily. I didn't play the 5v6 match. I played the matches that were actually 6v6. And I don't know. That team, everyone it was kind of a losing mentality. Like everyone knew that they were probably gonna get rolled and they didn't really play very confidently. So it was a little bit of a sad season, but this season is a lot better. Everyone actually wants to be here, I feel like, this season. Everyone wants to improve and wants to get better. They and I it just the atmosphere is a lot different. Everyone really wants to try and improve, which I think is a big upgrade, and it feels a lot better too.
Yeah, playing invite to try and get those wins, and be competitive. It's a lot more fun than just being like, all right, well, we lost. But,
Hey yo, we're getting 5-0.
sorry to
Yeah,
whoever the sixth player on Happy Boys was. You have been forgotten. And I think that's all we
I just
got
don't
for
remember
you.
the replacement. There were a lot of players on that team that played, so
No, you hurt their feelings. But I think
I'm
that's it.
sorry.
Well, unless you have another question, Marmaloo.
No, I couldn't
Anything
come
else?
up with a funny one.
You don't got a funny one? I
No, I
don't have
don't
any
got a
funny
funny
ones
one.
either.
Yeah, we kind of sucked this week. But I think that's
Yeah.
all, Esper. We'll see
Okay.
you in hopefully one of these casts and maybe a post game interview.
Okay. Thanks for having me here. Bye bye.
No problem.
Well, that was Esper from Team Ah Shie, the team we were talking about all podcast. But now this is the part of the podcast, where we, take some of your guys' questions into account, where you can always ask in the Discord. We already have some questions lined up here. Let me just pull them up here. Marmal, if you want, did you want to take away the first one?
Yeah, so the first one we got is from Enemy of the Public, Scratch. And it was asking for tips on improving general game sense instead of DM, because everyone, easiest way to get good is get good DM, but the game sense, it comes over time. I think you need to, especially on like a class like Roamer, is you just need to do some trial and error, watch demos. It depends on whatever you like, because I didn't like watching demos, so what I did is just a lot of trial and error in pugs and scrims. Try out, see what works, see what doesn't, see what you like doing, and just get your playstyle down. Try and get as many interactions as possible to know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the biggest thing that with Scratch's question, when it comes to like the biggest difference between the players on the come up versus the established players besides DM is coming from a main caller's perspective. That's one of the most important roles on the team, and being able to coordinate with your flank and being able to put yourself in the shoes of your demo man, your medic, your flank in that situation, be like, okay, what can they do, or what can I do to make it their job easier, or vice versa? What can they do to make the combo's job easier? That's probably the number one thing that any growing combo scout or kind of just player can do to just become better. Besides him, just learn the game better.
Yeah, so second question we got is from we love this alias. I don't know
It's
who this
such
is
a good
actually,
name.
but it's such a team of ants in their prime asked, what was your favorite season to play in and why, Sandblast? I'm gonna let you take this one first.
My favorite team to play on, it's close between two. Probably most recent Ford Gaming is one of them, but probably like my all-time favorite, probably season 25. Probably the season, my second season invite with Phelps, Ranga. We had Evil Mr. Muffins and Goldfish. We had Campy and May. Kind of like the the season of like up and coming players who made playoffs in a really quick amount of time. And I had a lot of fun that season. I mean, it was. I wish I could play with most of those players again to this day, like Campy or Phelps, and even Ranga if Ranga ever came back. Shout out to Rango, by the way, if he somehow sees this. But I mean, it was a great season for all of us. We all played great. We made playoffs. We had a couple great upsets, and we kind of broke the stigma of seventh place team that just shot right up to fourth.
You have some opinions on that rando injury, but I'll let it slide for now. But
Shout out to
yeah,
Rando.
shout out to Rando for that dub and knocking me out of playoffs for sure. But
Get
so
owned.
my favorite season, it's either 26 or 27. 26 was probably one of my best individual seasons, but 27 I think I'll say is my favorite, especially because it was my first real time playing on like a top two team, being expected to be the one to play against Froyo and, compete. And I learned a lot, had a lot of fun. There was a lot of ups and downs, I'll say at the very least, a couple roster switches, which is normal now, but it was definitely fun to try and get in a different environment where you're really expected for, greatness, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And we have one more question coming from Fez on our Discord. I'll ask this one to you. Has the skill level of Invite gotten better or stayed the same or declined over the years?
I think over the years it's definitely increased. All players have gotten better, but with something like Overwatch releasing, it went down a little bit because all the good players at the time left, but now I think it's definitely rising again with a bunch of new players who have been grinding, getting better, and I think it's going to keep increasing until maybe perfect players like Ski's demo.
True. I mean, I think it's kind of honestly, I mean, depending on the time frame you put it, I'm gonna kind of say the last 3 years. I guess you'd say like 3 years. I feel is a good time frame. I think it's kind of stayed the same. You always had Froyotech, the competing team. Then you had the fourth and third seed team. The third seed team usually had a little bit better efforts trying to beat the second seed team. Fourth seed team was always just a slightly cut above the rest. The fifth seed team in the playoff race, not really competing with the third seed team. Very, very close games every now and again. But really, the sixth, fifth, and fourth seed teams were always been very, very competitive. And that's kind of what I look for in this season is the playoff race and then the top level talent. Froyotech has always had competition coming into the season, and there's always been a fourth or third seed team trying to take Ascent down and try and prove themselves that they could be the team that can contest Froyo this season. So, I mean, I think overall it stayed the same the past couple of years. I think in general, I do agree with you. Like stemming back to Overwatch 4 years ago, I think that it did kind of hurt our scene a little bit competitively. I think come a year, you've had players who've gotten so good at the game, and the up and coming players ended up becoming kind of staple figures in invite. The consistent fifth, fourth, third seed players. They kind of made names for themselves and kind of rebuilt the structure.
Yeah, but I think that's all the questions we got. But we're running low, so if I'm begging, please anybody join the Discord. Drop some questions. The questions channel. We'll answer them if they're good. Try not to be too memey with them. But we definitely need some more. Otherwise, we're gonna have to start coming up with some other things to talk
Yeah.
about for these last 10 minutes.
So please join our Discord. We want to answer your guys' questions. Again, tune in next week. We'll have some more stuff lined up for you. We're gonna obviously recap in the matches that passed and everything. But other than that, man, I mean that's pretty much it. Again, thanks to everyone for showing up. You'll see us. I know you'll see me at least on that Mal versus Microwave match. Hopefully, Marmaloo is able to join us. Yeah. I mean, any last words?
Um, no, I don't think so. I'm gonna, I'll drop this link in chat. That is for the
Yeah.
thread, and there's the Discord in there. And thanks for watching. We'll be back here next week. I'm gonna be trying to cast on Thursday, and any other matches. Keep up to date on TF2. See if there's any RGL cast coming up, and that's all we got. See ya next Sunday.
Peace.